Good morning, Tracy. How are you doing this morning?
Doing great. Thanks for.
We have a story of celebration and accomplishment. So there was a company that I worked with a couple years ago. We started, and I was watching a video of the CEO talking. It was probably about 5 years after I'd worked with him. And one of the things that the company started with is they had this executive team, and they were looking to make sure their communication was effective between the executives, the different executives that made up this company. Now, um, most companies, as they're starting from the entrepreneurial place, they have one person or maybe two people that start the thing. And then they start getting other team members to come on board. There's really a need for understanding or clarity about what the strength of each of these people are. How can they best communicate with each other? How can they become more effective as communicators so that what winds up happening is that they're on the same page communication wise and be able to really exchange information quickly. All right, so by taking the HBDI survey, the Herman Brain Dominance Survey, what winds up happening is you find out where everybody's strengths are. And then you figure out who the next person we're going to onboard onto this company vision. When that is done efficiently and effectively, what winds up happening is that there's a clear path to things like sales and marketing and finance and operations. There's some clear path of what does human resources look like, and a clear path to, what does your IT look like, and a clear path if it's a company that is needs new products, then it's research and development. What is that going to look like? So what it comes down to, and one of the things that I look for is really creating a space for the thing called the Magic Seven to show up. Now, what is this Magic Seven? Okay. The Magic Seven really is this collection of executive mindsets that are literally playing in their strength, but also collaborating and cooperating with people that are not in their strengths, that are opposite of their strengths. So, for example, somebody that is speaking logically and analytically, that might be a person, and mathematically, that's the person that's really focusing on the CFO, chief financial officer position, where they're really standing in the place of, I am managing this numbers piece, and I am managing a little bit of the projections, making requests of the other team and I'm giving them information so they can make decisions about what part are they pulling and what are they going forward for. Okay. So that's one of these positions. Okay. Now, another one of those positions that's very opposite of that is the vice president of human resources. This is the person that's going to onboard talent, be ready for the various different growth elements to build this company, because they've got to get the right talent in place to help this Magic Seven to grow in the direction to expand in the marketplace, so it works best.
Well, something that pops up in my head is, I'm hearing executives' voices in my head saying how quickly, because they'll see people that they like and they'll want it because they're moving fast and
Right.
they're wanting to move fast, that they bypass this piece and then end up with a headache, somebody stealing money, somebody, not working well with the people, creating a bad atmosphere. How do you talk to that, speak to it empathetically to move people into that space where they understand that it really doesn't take a lot of time for you to go through this process.
Right, right. That's a great question, because the person might be feel hesitant and nervous because in the past they've hired somebody that uh, is either maybe underskilled or maybe has some character defects. And how do you sniff that out? How do you become aware of, here's this person that I'm hiring? Is this person going to do the job, or is this person going to be a headache for me? Is this person going to be somebody that's going to be a fit for me or not? Well, one of the biggest challenges is that an entrepreneur moving in a very fast way, very creatively and innovatively trying to get things to move, yeah, they're going to get stuck because the entrepreneur wants to make a quick decision instead of a decision that's going to support the entrepreneurial process,
And
which is
in real time, how long does it really take? I mean, an HBDI profile is something that happens very quickly. I mean, you can take the test, have the results. A
right.
background check, it doesn't have to take very long, on someone. But
Yeah, and I think the entrepreneur makes the mistake. They think they can do the job of a skilled vice president of human resources, somebody that can onboard and knows what the markers are and what the questions are to ask this person, and what the research that's needed to be done to do not just a um, online background check, because I have worked with a security company. He goes, well, you could do the online, but they miss 7 factors that you may want to consider. 7 factors they miss. I go, yeah, they miss 7 factors. I go, like, you mean they don't look at this other database? They go, no, they can't look at the other base because you only paid them $25 to do the search. They're only doing the smallest search possible. They're not doing a thorough search. Well, how much more does it cost? Well, actually not that much, and then all of a sudden it's like the realization that that they can't, that they are really, that they need to do a little bit more thoroughness. So the entrepreneur, they're trying to do the growth and trying to, get the thing moving and creatively, kind of start the journey through the forest, but they need the team to actually kind of be a part of clearing the path, because they're trying to bring an entire company forward, not just to cut the path for them, but and many times the entrepreneur gets cutting the path in this forest and they look around and they say, nobody's behind me. I have to do this all myself. They'll say that because the entrepreneurial mindset is going to think very holistically, conceptually, intuitively, has the ability to synthesize a new business out of nothing and has the tolerance, the brain tolerance to do that. And they're trying their best, to do that. And they're looking for support. Meanwhile, they don't know how to put a support person that's both affordable and stable behind them. And
right,
that's
and that's what I've seen. I've seen that the initial startup people wear
right.
all these different hats, and they think everybody can do it that way. And yet when they start hiring people, they're like, why are they only able to do this one thing or the one or two things, and they're not willing to step up the way that we've been. So
No,
I
they're not.
I think it's so important for people to understand what it is that you do regarding this, and
Yeah.
how you can simplify this process and give them the best chance to have this collaborative atmosphere that's empathetic, that has the ability to help them, and it really doesn't take that much time to do.
No, no, it's and when you do that, what you're doing is you're shrinking the time between the decision and financial affluence slash freedom and a stable business unit that's behind you. See, it's the stable business unit, which is really a big part of the Magic Seven. So the stable business unit is, I have my CFO that's going to look at my numbers. I'm going to have and that logical and analytical mindset. But across from that, I have this HR person that knows how to find talent and knows how to do that. Now, as most businesses and entrepreneurs, we need a sales piece to that, and we need a marketing piece, and we need an operations piece to that. So the question is, where do those fit in this Magic Seven? Well, operations wise, you need somebody that needs to put systems in place. So this is called a form of McDonaldizing your business. In other words, I have got to get my manuals, my operations, my to-do lists, my who does what, my role descriptions. I need to build those systems, my performance evaluations. I need to get my payroll. All that stuff is systems. And entrepreneurs are very opposite of systems. They're innovative, they're creative, they're looking for where is the next opportunity. They're not looking to build systems. That's called, I have to build a house behind. I don't want to build a house. My house is over there. My house is not behind. No, you need to build this house slash business building here that houses that group of people, that makes that group of people have a stable work environment, so that they're generating, and building a life and a business that, yeah, it's supporting your vision in your life and your business, but they need a stable house to live in. If you cut operations, if you cut regulations, if you cut systems, then what happens is yes, you're
A
running
lot
a
of fluff and no substance, right?
right. Yeah, you might be running lean, but you are not running effectively, because you're destabilizing the thing that you're really building or putting in place. The supply chain is not going to be stable. It's going to break down there. You could be very, very lean, and then when there's some kind of crisis, the entire thing falls apart, because there's not the systems in place to be able to provide a stable business or organization at any level, inside it. So we have our CFO, we have our HR person, we have our operations person, and now we've got to find customers and then sell to customers, so that the finding customer depends upon a marketing person that knows how to catch eyeballs. Here's to catch eyeballs that automatically, those eyeballs go to and that's the vice president of marketing, or CMO, chief marketing officer, that is this innovative. And basically that person's job is, listen, that person, a CFO says to that person, listen, I'm going to give you $10 and you're going to bring me back 100. That's what the marketing person does. You can't just find me the eyeballs. You got to find me the right eyeballs,
Right.
the eyeballs that want our product or service.
And with these profiles, you can actually see that in their strengths and their
Right.
weaknesses, right?
Right. You can actually get a sense of this, but we're in school, we're not taught teaming. We're not taught to leverage the strength of the person that's sitting next to them. No, we're taught, don't talk to that person because it's cheating, or don't talk to that person because the teacher is trying to jam information into your head. Meanwhile, the problem is that that's not functioning when you get to the workplace, or when you move out into the world. That's not a functioning piece. It's
Right.
not really real. It's not really alive back then.
So
For
what's interesting to me is that when we did the HBDI profile on me and my husband, because we have a design studio, everybody looks at us as the creatives, and what we found was that as two creatives, we were very different as creatives, because I have a very high green piece to me,
right.
and my husband doesn't. And
Right.
that was very interesting to find out that he was a double dominant and I'm a triple dominant personality, but just because people see specific things in people doesn't mean they're going to be a good fit for your organization. Can you explain that a little bit?
Yeah, there's a difference between a person's preference and a person's skill. And a person's preference gives you that first window to say, okay, here is what that thinking style does. It is this balance between maybe creative and interpersonal, or a balance between rational thinking and sequential thinking. So it gives a sense or a leaning towards, because if my 18-year-old, when I look at his survey, yeah, he's got this creative thing that he does and this analytical thing that he does. And it makes him really have a strong affinity to computer games, and science. He's kind of like a little research sciencey kind of guy. But what happens is that it doesn't tell me that I can hire him as a uh, as a research person, because he does, as an 18-year-old, he doesn't have skill, experiences, and awareness, and has cut enough wood to have experience to be able to say, oh yeah, I'm analytical and I take my creative mind and I do XYZ with it. No, he doesn't have those experience. Now he has the thought he can grow into those things, and he has some form of confidence to say, oh yeah, Dad, I can handle that. But meanwhile, he doesn't have 10 years of experience in like research or marketing or computer design, which are all things that he's thinking about doing. It's like,
Those are people that you might have be interns or apprentices under somebody with experience, correct?
that's right, because what that person that is in charge of that, or has 5-10 years experience in it, and has a skill and a leadership aptitude to do that, they can get these other people to do other work for them that they did 10 years ago when they were first starting out. So the 7 then are, I've got a financial person, I've got an HR person that is more interpersonal and hiring talent, I've got an operations person that is structuring thing, and I've got a marketing person that's creatively finding me eyeballs. Now I got to come down and have a interpersonal person that has a very specific kind of thinking style. And this has to do with somebody that is good at sales.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if you're good at sales, that means you've got to have kind of like 2 different things that are running. Okay. The first thing you need to do is be good to talk to people. You've got to have some
Connector
likability,
piece.
some connection piece. So you've got to have some interpersonal quality. Then you've got to have the ability to get that person to give you a check in the shortest amount of time possible.
So let me give you an example. So CEO of a company has this kind of marketing sales background. So as a CEO, he tends to be the face person,
Right.
and is really good at getting people to buy into the vision and write checks.
Right.
Now, a salesperson down below is in a different level position, and you have to have those kind of salespeople, even in support, like support people, like you have a support realm.
Right.
You have to be able to connect and be able to create ease, right?
Right. And that's the thing about it, is that salesperson has got to, and the easiest way to think about it is to look at car sales. That's the easiest way to look at it. Your customer, you come on a lot, you meet a salesperson. They talk to you nice and ask, what kind of car are you looking for? And, or, what is, what are you thinking about? What you're looking for your transportation. They don't use those words, by the way. They could actually get further along if they use certain words, but what they do is they're trying to build a relationship with this person. Now, if that goes well, that prospect will be sitting in front of a financial person that is writing the contract up for them within a 3-hour period, maybe 4, maybe 2. That person's not getting out of there
Without a car.
without a car, because they know when this person leaves the lot, they're
They're
not
gone.
coming back.
Right.
They're going to be sold or have another experience with another car person someplace else. That's what they ain't coming back. They ain't coming back. So if they don't get the person in front of the car that they like and get that person to sit in front of the finance person that's writing the contract, the person is going to buy a car from someplace else.
And that's where you're talking about the collaboration and understanding each other's preferences and how you work, right? So bringing it up and tying it all back to the HBDI profiles, and actually the benefit of having someone like you come in teaching this empathetic language, this preference style, can actually speed up the success of a company exponentially.
Yeah, and even if it's done really well with the with the with that person that's in the selling place, in the even in the car company, what happens is the impression is left that this person was a good salesperson, that even though they're trying to sell me a car, and they're trying to sell me a car right now, it's a person, it's a dealership that I would like to come back to in the future. And it might be 3 years, 4 years from now. And maybe that salesperson will be there. Maybe they won't be there. But what happens is the salesperson made such an impression of connection that when I'm driving by the dealership, I have a good feeling about that dealership, that I wasn't sold too hard. I was sold in a way that this person was genuinely
Looking out for your best interest.
working out, and they weren't like giving the car away. They weren't knocking it down, but they were looking out for the best interest to try to get you in the best transportation that they had available. It might not have been a fit for you, but at least they were helping you through the process of it. And then you'll go back to the person and says, well, this time I didn't buy a Subaru, but boy, that Subaru dealership, that salesperson was a pretty good one. He was really kind of looking at me, and here's some things that he, pursued, and yeah, it wasn't a fit this time, but next time going back, I've, my car, it's, I got it the way I did, and now it's gonna, go to my son, and maybe I'll go back to that place because I had such a good experience there, and I really liked what that person had to offer. You see what I mean is that the quality of connection was done. All right, so let's go back to this Magic 7, right? Because
Yeah.
that's it. So my CFO, I've got somebody working HR. Those are two very different thinkers. I've got somebody that's doing operation that's very structured and is building my systems for me. I have my
Working with the CEO.
marketing person that's taking $10 and turning them into $100 of qualified leads. They then bring it down to this other person in sales. Okay. And that salesperson is going to interface and trying to get money to hand to the CFO to start tracking. But wait a minute, I've got this person, but this salesperson is also doing something else. They're collecting data. They're collecting data on my customer. Well, now I need a CTO, a chief technical officer, and a CRM, a customer management system to track these customers in the sales process, and to track these customers to repurpose and remarket to this person over time. Well, now I've got 6 people. Well, I need my 7th person now. Well, my 7th person is the CEO that sits in the middle, that then talks to these different people and gives them marching orders so that they're not spending too much in marketing. They're not hiring too many people in human resources. They're not getting bogged down in operations and building, systems that they don't need now,
Mm-hmm.
or it's not the system we need in HR at this time. Or the IT person might be slowing down the process. It's like, why is this thing so hard to do? And it's always, the technology is always crashing. And, how about my social media piece? How about that? So there's these different moving pieces and these different skilled thinkers that, when working collaboratively, they're communicating with each other, and they're holding each other's roles down. They're actually doing things and keeping things alive in their world, so that it goes better, and if they're not doing that, then it's not, really fully working out for the company, because maybe one of those people are underskilled. Maybe one of those people are,
Got
bringing
put in the
in,
wrong position,
put in the
and
wrong
right,
position.
right.
Or, if you haven't done a background check, or you haven't really vetted their integrity, what happens is they might be doing something that's undercutting the company or meeting their needs ahead of the company's needs.
Well, and here this other point, and it brings up in my mind, is that company starts doing well and they start having money, and people start flocking, and we just got to fill these positions because we need to have these places, because we need to fulfill these things that are happening on the outside, right? And if they don't understand this concept and they do it wrong, their company could implode from the inside out, because they
Yeah.
don't have the right people in place. So I
Yes.
guess in summary, um, my take on this is that it's really important that entrepreneurs understand this, and that
Yes.
you give a quick wrap up regarding this, because I think that if people get
Yeah.
hold of this, oh,
Right.
their businesses
So,
are going to do so well.
as a instructional video, this video here, this is a great summarization of what an entrepreneur needs to know to create, attract, and um, build their magic 7. The magic 7 that's going to take their entrepreneurial idea into a stable, functioning business that they own, and these people run. They own it, but these people run it. And, well, but I don't know what to do. Well, you got two choices. Create new products for the company that's currently running as the owner, as the visionary, create new products, or start another company over here, because that's your job as an entrepreneur, is to be a starter. It is not your job as an entrepreneur to run Coca-Cola. It's just not. Entrepreneurs don't run Coca-Cola. They don't say, oh, we need an entrepreneur, we got to hire one of them. No, they don't. Coca-Cola says, we're an established company. I wonder what other companies we can buy. That's what they do. And that's just a different narrative. So the entrepreneur needs to gather their magic 7. And I'm really delighted that you asked me this. And this is a really nice short video where somebody can really take a look at, here's the magic 7, and how can I, and imagine what it would be like as an entrepreneur when you are really fully leveraged with the wisdom, knowledge, and experience in this space called collecting and building and optimizing your magic 7.
Fantastic. I look forward to people reaching out to you on this one, because I think that
So helpful.
it'll just open their minds.
Yep. So helpful. Thanks, Tracy. Really appreciate it.
You're welcome.